Welcome to the Hoof and Fang podcast. I'm Kirt Maz.
And I'm Maz Maddox.
How the fuck are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Yeah. So this is the week before the vacation or the trip back home. So it's more of just like the weird, surreal, like keep forgetting how little time I have to get everything done.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even have a suitcase until yesterday. So like that kind of shit. So getting my shit together slowly, piece by piece. But yeah, it's good. It's a smooth week so far, so no complaints.
Okay.
How about
Good.
you? How's your week going?
I have a lot to do this week. Packed a lot into these last couple weeks before the vacay. So yeah, I mean, it was a photo finish today, like getting to where I needed to finish today, and like barely had 10 minutes before we had to start recording.
Yeah.
Usually I have like a couple of hours.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Typically. Yeah.
Especially now that we record a little later because of your new job. Like, there's usually time. I do other things.
Right.
Nope,
Just
not today.
back to
It's just like back to back. Yeah. So I did try to pace it out so that I finish one project tomorrow. And then I have a co-narration just the last 2 days of the week.
Oh, okay. So that should be nice.
So like as the week goes on, I'm doing less and less.
Excellent.
So like,
yeah,
I've basically been doing like 23 to 25% of the book for the last few days that I'm doing now. Tomorrow I only have 20%.
Oh, nice. Excellent.
19% in fact. So
great.
I hit 81%. So it's like, great.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, less than I had to do today. And hopefully a little less than that even Thursday and Friday.
Great.
So
fantastic. That's the way to do it, man. Just front load it and then you can just taper out and be chill.
Well, and I was very optimistic when I scheduled this week because this is partially like, remember a few weeks ago when things were getting canceled and moved around and I was like trying to make space for other things. Like this is what happened as I sort of scrunched these all to the end and was like, I'll deal with it later.
Yeah. Ooh.
Well, now here I am. But
dealing with it.
But at least I've had the wherewithal to, since I started this project on Friday, like get done everything I was supposed to every day. Friday, Saturday, yesterday, today, tomorrow.
Awesome.
We're gonna get it done.
Excellent. Good.
We're gonna get it done, and unless I get sick or something.
Don't say that.
You know?
Don't put that in the universe.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good. We're gonna finish strong.
Yes.
And then vacation happens, and then away we go.
Is it technically a vacation if it's like going to do family stuff? Because this does not feel like a vacation to me. It feels like work.
Yeah, you know, I will count this as a vacation.
Yeah,
because I'm not planning on bringing too much actual work with me. I always have projects I'm working on. I always bring my computer with hopes of like doing some podcast stuff or something, or I can start like reading to maybe prep a little bit. But really, truly, my hope is this time around to just go, have a good time, not think about work for a while.
Yeah.
I really did, like, if things go to plan, this will be the first year in my 8 years of being an audiobook narrator where I'm not recording anything the week of Christmas and New Year's.
Oh, nice.
I always plan
to
take those 2 weeks off and never achieve it.
Yeah. I think you can do it.
Really, like, I have a very hard deadline because we're literally leaving town on Saturday.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like,
kind of
I don't have more time to be like, well, you know, if it goes into Saturday, no. I have to finish it by Friday because then we're leaving and we're not coming back for a week. And then it's like more holidays.
Yeah.
So it's not like I really even have time to do that stuff.
Right.
So yeah, it's, it has to happen, but it's a lot of work. And that's, I mean, we talk about this all the time with being freelancers. You get so much freedom in your schedule and that's so nice. But you also, when you're not working, you're not making any money. Yeah. So really getting in these finished hours of audio is going to help me finish out the year strong and not have a abysmal December and January.
Good.
So,
well, we can get it done.
We can get it done.
You can do it.
We're going to do it. Yeah. But that's been my whole day.
Yeah.
Come in, sit in the booth, do that. Barely take a lunch. I ate some cereal.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think I saw you maybe once, like passing words, but just kind of heads down all day. So
yeah, that's where we are.
Yeah,
that's where we are. So
fair.
Yeah. So anything Maz Maddox related that we should know about?
So I am working on something. I forgot I signed myself up for a Queers and Quills anthology story.
Oh,
yeah,
fun.
I totally forgot. And so they were like, hey, just a reminder, that it needs to be like turned in, ready to go by January 31st. And I was like, oh shit.
Oh, that.
Ooh, oh yeah, that. So
thank you for the reminder.
Yeah, I'm so glad they did, because otherwise I would have been like, I'm not participating. So the max is like 15,000 words, which isn't bad. It could be anywhere from 5 to 15. I was like, great, right? So I got a random plot bunny, and it's a high fantasy knights, wizards kind of thing. Great. Short, sweet, little standalone, not connected to anything. So I started working on that last weekend, and I'm having a blast with it. So my goal is to finish in time, but if not, it'll just be a fun short story I'll give to the Patreons or something, So
exactly.
Yeah, but it's been just a nice break, because I'm not like, oh man, I gotta like weave it into the relic lore or something. I'm like, no, it doesn't matter. Like this is just a fun little plot bunny I'm chasing down. So that's fun. So I think if I'm able to get a little bit more done before we leave, maybe I'll toss in some like preview or like what I've done so far into the Patreon if I get time. So no promises, because I don't know. But so that's been kind of cool to just kind of do a little standalone project.
Yeah. It is. So a short story is a good way to shake off the dust.
Yeah, shake off the dust. I'm still kind of untangling some stuff for the first Origin novel, which I still plan on doing the first half of 2025. I just got to figure out like this one little knot that I'm still trying to fold out. But once that's done, I think the words are going to fly, because I'm really excited about the story. So, but yeah, I'm optimistic that the beginning of the year I'll be able to like really just hit the ground running.
Yay.
Yeah.
That's fun.
It's good. Yeah.
And you're more of a pantser anyways, right?
Yeah. So I just need to figure out, like, I'm kind of a weird blend of plotting and pantsing. I think somebody called it a discovery author. So I have like the goalposts planted of like, these things need to happen, but the journey to get there is wide open for me, because that's where I have a lot of fun. So I'm still trying to like get the goalposts in line, because they're not hitting correctly. But once I have my path, I can just go. And these, like, the Relic books and the Origin books aren't huge, beefy things like the Wild Contracts books. They're like maybe 60,000 words. Great, right? So I can like just have fun with it. I'm not expecting like to hit 100,000 or something.
As a narrator and a reader, we love the little morsels.
Yeah, I like shorter romance books. Like personally, I don't typically gravitate to like the really chunky ones. They have their place, and I do really like them. But for the most part, I like the little kisses. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I want these books to be short and fun, like the Relic ones. So
well, and I think it's not just in the male romance space. It's all of writing. Sometimes those huge books don't justify their length.
Yeah, sometimes not.
And it's just like, why is this book so long? We're off the main. It's like we have to like take a huge detour from the main plot just to fill up space, and then we come back to it, and it's like, well, that whole middle section,
it could be cut.
Actually, didn't do anything. Yeah, it's a side adventure.
Right. Yeah.
Are you a Star Wars person?
I mean, I think I've seen all the movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
The new ones as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like the second one of the new trilogy, which I actually like quite a bit.
Yeah.
But there's the whole side mission. This is going to sound so terrible, but I don't remember anybody's names, with the black guy and the Asian chick. I can't remember anybody's names, actor or character.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. And they have to like go to a gambling planet and try to get something.
Yeah.
And then come back, and it's totally unnecessary.
Yep.
And like my one big critique of that middle movie, and I know Star Wars fans hate it.
Right.
I actually think it's a lot of fun, and I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah.
Except for that one plot point. I'm like, so their whole mission is pointless.
Yeah.
There's no reason.
I vaguely
absolutely
remember,
no reason.
Yes. Yeah.
For them to have gone on that at all.
Well, weren't they trying to do like a romance between them, or was it kind of like an understated thing? Because I remember, I think shipping them pretty hard, because I really liked the female character. She was really cute and fun. But yeah, I can't remember even what the hell they were doing there, because it had nothing to do.
They were trying to get something from somebody, like a smuggler or like a key or software or something.
Something
But
that sounded critical.
Like they went there, they got it, they came back, or maybe they didn't get it and they came back and it was like, it didn't really matter anyways. But like that is what happens, I feel like a lot of times with these super long books is like we have to take a really long detour.
Yeah, for some shenanigans.
That's like, this could have been a fun side story that like a really strict editor would be like, take this out.
Yes. Yeah.
And they'd be like, oh, but I really love it. And be like, take it out.
Yeah. Well,
take it out. You don't need it.
I've 100%
save it.
Yeah. Save
Put it out as a side adventure.
Exactly. People will like it as like a freebie fun thing or like a bonus inclusion in a special edition. Bam. There you go.
No.
Yeah. You don't need to have them do everything.
Agreed. Tell a story. And like, or like incorporate it into the next story.
Yeah. There you go.
Like,
yeah, this doesn't serve a purpose here.
Yeah. They have these things called series.
Yeah. Right.
Where like, standalone books have beginning, middle, and ends, but then they flow into the next one.
Right. Exactly.
You can use it later. So yeah, I will. So I think that part of my affinity for shorter books is they feel like they're economical with their page time.
Yeah.
They tell the story efficiently. And there's never a moment where I'm like, oh, why am I reading about this?
Yeah. Well, and also I think because depending on how you're pacing it out, it could feel like things are way more snappy and fun and like the adventure doesn't stop because if you have this more of a condensed little book, these things are just like rapid fire happening and I'm like, I'm glued to the page, you know what I mean? But if you have like a meandering bullshit thing that they're doing, I'm like, oh, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, why are we here?
Or sometimes the thing that will happen, not that I'm saying that any of the books I've narrated have done this, but like it's almost like they try to slip a cozy mystery or a cozy novel in the middle of an action novel.
Oh, that's annoying.
Where like suddenly there will be 2 or 3 chapters that are just like them hanging out at the Hollow.
Yeah, we don't need to do that.
Just like we're just having a normal day in our magical forest. It's like, stop.
Yeah, no,
I don't need that. Again, that's a side story.
Exactly. That's a great slice of life for as a bonus thing. But yeah, especially if it's like an action thing. Yeah. If the action stops, you have failed. Like you don't do that.
And in fairness, I think, again, not in any of the books I've done.
Of course.
But I think a lot of times what happens is because it's romance, they're trying to shoehorn a romance story in the middle of an action story.
You can do both.
And so but you'd like take a break from the main plot point for them to fall in love. And it's like, no, you got to incorporate it.
Yeah, you got to
because if we suddenly have some time that's away from this main plot, it just feels like it bogs it down.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah, no,
I'm sure
I
there's
agree.
some people that are like, write the longest books you possibly can. I just love them.
Yeah, and there's definitely those kind of readers. Like as long as they're in the world, they don't care. Totally valid. I just don't have the attention span for it. Like if they are suddenly like hanging out playing checkers, I'm like, dude, you're going to lose me. Like I have to be engaged. Like that's why I like the more actiony romances. I want them to kiss while things are exploding. That's great.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Kiss while things are exploding.
Yeah. That should be my new tagline.
Yes.
My new brand. Like,
there you go.
Yeah. Identity.
Yeah. I forget how we got there.
I don't know.
Anyways, yes, you're writing stuff.
Yes.
Maybe a short story for an anthology in early 2025.
Yes, if I can finish.
We'll see.
We'll see.
And maybe you'll post it on Patreon.
Yeah, maybe.
But if not, we'll tell you what will be on Patreon, including the final 2 Animorphs episodes.
Yes.
Which are coming out, guys. Even while we're on our hiatus, the Animorphs episodes will continue. So episode 53 will come out on Christmas Day, on Wednesday, December 25th. Yes. And the final Animorphs book, our recap of it, will come out on New Year's Day, Wednesday, January 1st.
Perfect thing to go listen to while you're trying to escape like family.
Exactly. It is our gift to you, our listeners. Well, not all of you. Sorry, just the ones who pay for the Patreon. It is our gift to you that you will have our dulcet tones discussing the end of this epic series over the holidays. And then when we come back in January, don't worry, we have some plans for how to keep the fun rolling.
Yes.
And just for those of you who are looking for it, the early shift, we did our last one for 2024 earlier this week. And our next one will not be until Monday, January 6th.
Correct.
At the earliest. As previously mentioned, I'm not actually working that week, so we'll see.
Yeah, we might skip.
We'll see. Yeah. Maybe I'll be like, I don't feel like coming in on Monday.
I don't blame you.
It's going to be a Tuesday early shift this
exactly.
week. Who knows? So yeah, so that's what's going on over on the Patreon. We're going to keep the fun rolling, even though we are heading out of town.
Yes.
We'll be posting stuff there. So I thought today it would be fun to take a look back at 2024 and just do a little mini highlight reel. We know that it was an election year in the United States. That is tough.
Yep.
The outcome was rough. We have been depressed and sad and upset for a good chunk of this year, but some good things happened.
Yeah, sprinkled in.
Some happy was sprinkled in. So let's end the year talking about our personal highlight reels, the things that we loved.
Yes.
So,
love it.
Would you like to go first?
Yeah. So I think something I didn't celebrate enough is the fact that I finished my third full series this year. The last of the Wild Contracts books came out. I did 2 books this year, which is insane because these things were like fat.
Well, you had to.
Yeah, I had to.
Because you were such a bitch.
I know, exactly. So I set that goal for myself and I did it and I wrapped up a 3rd series. That's fucking cool. I'm very proud of myself for that. So I think that's probably my most proudest thing of this year is finishing that up, and I love it.
That's great.
So, yeah.
Congratulations. And you're right, we didn't celebrate it enough because it happened, like especially the final one came out like right at that weird time where you were like transitioning jobs. And, like,
so much.
It came out on Halloween. And
yeah, it was kind of like right in the thick of a big transition, and
right before the election.
Right before the election, so it was awesome, and like it's like people like it, which is fantastic. But yeah, it kind of got quietly smothered by a lot of other shit going on. So it's cool, and I give myself a gold star for that.
Good job. Good job.
How about you?
I am going to highlight vacations in general.
Love it.
This was the year of vacations for John and I.
Good.
Because we didn't take a lot of trips for several years because John was working on his EDD. That's an educational doctorate. Not an issue.
I didn't even put that together. That's great.
Educational
I'm glad it was
doctorate.
the first one.
So this year, when he finished, we just like immediately started traveling, like 1 week out of every month for several months. Listeners of this podcast will remember it was sort of stressing me out for a little while.
Yeah.
But I'm choosing to look back on the good portions of it because I really did have some fantastic times on these trips. And all of them surround the fact that I got to be around new and old friends.
Love it.
So I loved my trip to New York, not just because I love seeing theater and I just really enjoy visiting that city for a few days at a time. I'm not sure I would live there, but I love I love the energy of New York for at least a few days at a time. And I got to see all my narrator buddies.
Yeah.
Like in a couple of different occasions. I did, just the night I arrived, I got together with some friends just at a bar and like got to meet some new narrators who I'd never met before because they were at another narrator event that happened to be happening that same evening.
Yeah.
Tagged along with the people I already knew, made some cool new connections, met some new fun people. And then like the next day I went out to dinner with just my little gay narrator posse, and like just had a great time chatting with them and getting to meet some of their partners, and like just had this fantastic time. And part of what made it so special was getting to see people that I adore and like getting to see them in real life, not just over a computer screen, not just in a podcast recording studio. And that was really, really nice. And then we took a trip to Oregon in June with like 4 of our best gay friends from Wisconsin. And like, that was a really cool opportunity to bond with them.
Yeah.
In ways we hadn't before. We also got to see some of John's family who lives out there, who we don't get to see that often, and get to meet some of them who we'd never met before, which was also really fun.
Yeah.
And then I did the Rainbow Readers Cruise in August,
where
I was surrounded by some people who I had had the pleasure of meeting before at previous conferences, but lots of new readers, and especially, again, a little posse of gays who were there, authors and narrators, who we just kind of found each other and hung out.
Yeah.
Because I think all of us, no matter what our background is, when we find other queer people, we're like, let us hang out together.
Yeah. Yes.
So those were three of my many trips. Those were 3 real highlights having to do mostly with relationship building and making new friends and connecting with old friends.
Great. But man, I really miss, like when you were talking about getting to hang out with other narrators, I miss going to like the GRL experience and stuff like that and just hanging out with peers. Like I didn't realize how much of that I missed until you were talking about when you had freshly come back from that and, you know, reconnecting with all your people. I'm looking forward to the Queers and Quills, which I constantly want to say that wrong or trip it up in my brain. But yeah, just being around
Quills and Queers.
QQ. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that so much next year, so I can just be around writers or, you know, authors and narrators and stuff again, just back in that pocket of creativity and stuff.
Yeah,
so it's gonna be fun.
All right, what's next on your highlight reel of 2024?
Also celebrating my trips. We didn't do a
copycat.
I know. I saw yours and was like, oh yeah, I went out of town a few times. We didn't go very far.
I noticed you're not listing your trip to Texas, which is happening in 2024.
Well, I haven't done it yet, so I don't know if it's something to celebrate.
Okay, that's why. Yes, that's the reason.
That's the one. Well, and I almost put the Texas trip that I did earlier in the year, but that was not. No, that was rough. So, yeah, but we went. I think we only went out of state once. We went to Chicago one time, but otherwise we just stayed within Wisconsin. Did a bunch of cool Wisconsin shit. But we got to see House on the Rock for Alex's birthday in March. That was so fucking cool. I had to like go through my pictures and be like, what the hell did I do this year? We went to Mall of America.
So you went to Minnesota.
Oh, that's in Minnesota. I forgot. Okay, just kidding. We left twice then. My God. So the Minnesota trip was a surprise. I got in the car and didn't know where we were going.
Oh,
so
I hate that. I hate that for me.
I know you hate that. I love that. So Alex drove the whole way and just not register. We left the state. Anyway, so yeah, we did.
I love that you're thinking like Mall of America is like in Eau Claire.
Well, it was 2 hours away.
It's like outside of Madison, right?
Yeah, it's not that far. It's like
2 hours away. It's 5 hours away.
Is it 5?
Yes,
4?
Minneapolis is like 5 hours from Green Bay.
I don't remember. The whole trip was a blur.
2 hours. Jesus.
I have that happened months ago.
Oh, wow.
My memory is fucked. Yes, House of the Rock, Mall of America. We did Fan Expo in Chicago, which while that sucked for the most part, I did get to meet Neil Newbin, and that was badass.
Yeah.
And then we capped it off with the Days of the Dead thing, which was in November. It was last month, right? I think so.
Something like
that. Yeah. So yeah, we did a lot of cool shit this year, like just cool sightseeing stuff we'd never been to before, and yeah, it was fun. It was a good time, and I'm hoping next year it'll be like that too. Since we're going to be back south again, we'll jump around and find some other cool activities to do.
Yeah.
So
for sure. Yeah.
What about you? What's next?
Next up on my highlight reel is something I talked a lot about on this podcast because it took a lot of mental energy. But it was directing the Rocky Horror Show at a local community theater.
That was a good show.
Thank you.
It was really fun.
It was. And the more I look back on it, the more I realize the quality that was inherent in that cast and in the final product. It will go down, I think, as one of my favorite shows to have been a part of. And yes, it was stressful, and yes, it took a lot of time and energy.
Yeah.
And I didn't always know if it was going to be as great as it ended up being.
Yeah.
But it pretty quickly in the rehearsal process got to a point where I was like, this is going to be very good.
Yeah.
At least. And it might be able to be great.
Yeah.
If these things fall in place. And really, they all did.
Yeah.
So
I had a blast. Like, it was so much fun. Like, the acting was great. The set pieces were fun. I mean, granted, I'm not like a theater expert by any stretch, but as like just the common person going,
it shouldn't be a theater person being impressed by the stagecraft.
Right.
It should be anybody who can walk in off the street and go like, I love this.
Fun. Yeah,
this is fun.
So
you
did a good job.
And since we have gone to see another version of that, dear listeners,
spill the tea.
It was bad. It was bad. I'm sorry to be putting that out there in the public eye, and I really hope that none of them follow me closely or listen to this podcast, but there is no comparison.
Yeah.
Like they're just like we had such a special thing that happened. One with the cast, like so many talented people showed up and wanted to be in it.
Yeah.
And then they got along and they worked well together. And like it just clicked in a way this other production that we saw did not. I've seen some other theatrical productions around the area since then. And it's just really reminded me that like, oh, wow, that level of excellence that we set for ourselves in that rehearsal space and in that theater is not always achievable in community theater. And it was like, I needed to sort of be reminded of that and then to treasure the experience even more. Yeah. You know?
Awesome. Good.
So, and so that was a highlight. Very What's cool. next up on your reel?
Even though it's very disruptive to this podcast, I am qualifying the new day job as a good highlight because it's a big career step, money step. You know, it's a new chapter of our lives. It's taking us to
I'm
new
sure
places.
That first paycheck felt good.
Oh, it was great. Yeah. I was very proud of myself. And you know what's weird is I went back when I was going back through the pictures, trying to find, like, reminding myself what the hell I did. I remember Jess had sent me a picture of a candle that she wanted, she said I should get, that was like a Candyland one. And we started this whole bit where I was going to like manifest being a sugar mama with the candle. It was ridiculous.
You sort of did
I sort of did it. I sort of became the sugar mama, but I was like, but it wasn't in writing. It was in my dumb day job career. So, but yeah, I was like, oh shit, that's so funny. But I didn't end up even buying the candle, but we talked about it for like days. But yeah, it was just, it's cool and scary and also kind of sucky because I have to move, but still cool. So
I still think that's an adventure.
Yeah, it is.
You guys have done it once before.
We have, yeah. So that gives us a excellent baseline of what to expect and kind of going into this optimistic and excited instead of being like, are we making the right choice? And oh shit, you know what I mean? Like when we moved up here, it was like that. I was like, am I going to handle being away from my family like 1,000 miles away? Yeah.
And it turns out, love it.
Yeah, actually, kind of cool. So now I'm a little bit closer and I'm like, it's
still far enough.
Still far enough.
Nobody's dropping by.
Yeah, so. Nobody's dropping by or expecting me to do stuff. So it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, obviously there was that initial you told me this was possibly coming. So I had some warning.
Yeah, I didn't drop it on you.
But, you know, it was that initial was like, oh, but then I was like, no, this is so good for not just you, both of you.
Yeah.
You know, your family, your extended families, like two people who can pick up and move to another state and function just fine. Yeah. Make friends.
Yeah.
Like, you can do it again.
Yeah, we can do it again. We can do it again. It sucks to start all the way back over again because we set up shop great here. I love Wisconsin. Wisconsin's cool. Like we have our places we like. We've got our groups. Yeah. Like it's great. So having to just take all that and be like, bye, and just go all the, start 100% from square one, sucks and is scary, but it is cool. And I'm excited about it. Yeah.
It's not a bye. It's just to see you later.
Yeah.
You have one more place to visit where you know you like things.
Exactly.
There you go. Yeah. So, my final highlight of the year is a career achievement that I think is bullshit, but I did do it. And it does speak to the longevity and success of a career that I was not sure would continue past some hurdles in earlier years, including like mental health and like ADHD and the world falling apart around me, and then the challenges of incoming AI. But this year, one of my goals was to hit 250 audiobooks.
Yeah.
Which I did handily.
Love it.
This weird thing happens because if you look on Audible right now, it says like literally I have 250 under my name, but it doesn't include a bunch that I've already recorded that haven't come out yet. I've also passed the 7-year mark where some of the ones that I did really early on are now falling off.
Gotcha.
And then also authors have done some things where they've like taken like short story collections I've done and split them up into a bunch of books. And then they've also taken short stories I've done and like compiled them into one book.
Oh, wow. Like, so your numbers are all over the place.
It's totally effed. Why did I censor that?
Isn't it weird? Because you started the podcast with how the fuck are you?
Right. And now I'm like,
what the F?
Totally effed.
What the heck
but it is, so like it's hard to even, but like in my own tracking, it was like I hit 250 in November. And like, we're still going strong.
Yeah.
And the reason I think it's bullshit is because books are all different lengths.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like one of my titles is like 13 minutes that I have in a multicast where I barely did anything. I like had this tiniest little part.
Yeah.
But it comes up on Audible if you search my name.
Right.
So like there's that. And then there's like Wolf Song, which is 18 hours long.
Right. Yeah.
And a lot of my books are full length books. And I don't do many short anythings. So I am very proud of the fact that I have that number because I have colleagues who reached that much faster than I did. But many of them were doing lots of co-narrations much sooner than I even started doing co-narrations. Or they'll do a children's book from time to time. That's very short. And it's like, when it comes to the number of finished hours that I have done in my career, it is impressive.
Yeah.
But yet this number of like how many books you've done is still just something that like gets tossed around. And I reached that 250 number this year.
Well, that's awesome. That is something to celebrate, even though
you gotta celebrate all the things,
100%.
even while acknowledging it's a little bit bullshit.
For sure. Yeah.
Because I know people who have hit this number without doing as much work as I have.
Right.
You know,
it's like, it's still valid. It's still work, but it's also like, okay, if it's a 2-hour book though, I mean,
well, and there are also narrators out there doing like 40-hour, like
big, long, sprawling
not
series.
even novels, like e-learning manuals and like, you know, biology textbooks.
That's crazy.
You know, and it's like, you know, so that's way more than what I do.
Right.
You know, so it's like the number of books is such a silly thing, but it is something I reached.
It's a milestone and you hit it.
It's a milestone and I hit it. Good. So we would love to hear from you, listeners, what your highlights of 2024 were. We're ending on a positive note.
Yes.
Damn it.
Yes. Because it's too easy to be sad about a lot of shit.
It's too easy to be sad.
To be happy.
And then there's plenty of time for that in 2025.
Yeah.
Let's all give ourselves a short reprieve at the very end of the year.
Yeah.
To feel some joy, to hug other humans, to love our pets.
Yes.
Most importantly, to love our pets.
Yes.
And to be ready to go into 2025 with that little boost of optimism. Because we're going to need it.
Yeah. Yeah, we are.
Yeah. So, sound off in the comments. We want to know from you.
Yeah.
You know, what good things happened to you in 2024? Let's celebrate it together. And as we have said several times now, we're going to take the next couple weeks off.
Yeah.
So you won't be hearing from us in the podcast. But if you want to interact with us, you can follow us on social media. You can go to our Patreon and send us messages there. Or if you just want to send us an email or contact us through our contact form, you can go to hoofandfangpodcast.com. And you can always get in touch with us some way.
Yes.
We're
not far.
Right. We're elder millennials.
Yeah.
We have our phones with us at all times.
Constantly.
So, for those of you who celebrate, happy holidays. And to everybody, happy new year.
Yes.
We will be back in 2025.
I'll see you then.